The Detroit Lions are doing things their own way in 2026. That brings us to Jimmy Rolder, the former Michigan standout who was snagged in the 4th round. But the path to a starting role isn't without some serious roadblocks. The primary advantage for Roeder is the literal vacuum of opportunity in Detroit's defense. With Alex Anzalone taking his leadership to Tampa, there are a grand's worth of defensive snaps, roughly 96% of the season's workload, sitting on the table. The Lions are betting on Roeder's specific brand of efficiency at the second level to help fill that void. The numbers don't lie. Roeder finished his final college season with an elite 4.7% missed tackle rate. In a scheme like Aaron Glenn's, where the linebackers are expected to be the hammer, a sure-handed tackler who doesn't beat himself is worth his weight in gold. The reality is simple. The guys he's competing with, like Malcolm Rodriguez and Damone Clark, are coming off seasons where they struggled significantly with efficiency and injury recovery. However, there are financial and experience barriers standing in his way. The biggest hurdle is Derrick Barnes. The Lions just dropped a 3-year, $25.5 million extension on Barnes, making him a fixture for the foreseeable future, despite his average-graded season last year. Teams rarely bench a veteran they just committed that kind of capital to, especially one who played 85% of the snaps last year. Roeder also has to prove he can handle the mental load of the defense with limited starting experience. The reality in Detroit is that the Lions' LB2 role is an every-down job. In this defense, you're either an 85 to 90% snap player or you're a special teams ace playing minimal snaps a game. If he doesn't win it outright, he's looking at a redshirt year on special teams. But in a room where the depth struggled last year, Roeder is exactly one solid training camp away from being a full-time starter in this draft class.
The linebacker room down in Miami is setting up a massive interior battle, and if you aren't paying attention to second-round rookie Jacob Rodriguez, you are missing the blueprint of this defensive retool. Tyrel Dodson is currently the projected veteran starter, but his tape shows a major liability. Dodson's efficiency cratered in coverage last year, and that big decline is one of the reasons general manager John Eric Sullivan drafted Jacob Rodriguez at pick 43. Rodriguez is coming off a historic season at Texas Tech, where he swept the Butkus, Bednarik, Lombardi, and Nagurski awards. He racked up 128 combined tackles on the year, while leading all of NCAA football with 7 forced fumbles. His instincts are off the charts because he started his college career as a quarterback at Virginia. He diagnoses play designs before the snap, and his vision allows him to fly sideline to sideline. Anthony Weaver's scheme relies heavily on this type of fast processing logic to control the middle of the field. That's how Jordan Brooks secured his spot as the undisputed alpha of this unit. Linebacker coach Al Washington praised Rodriguez's professional approach and elite open field tackling. So, what will it take for Rodriguez to steal a starting job? It comes down to defensive quarterbacking. Dodson has the veteran edge, so Rodriguez has to prove during OTAs and training camp that he can handle the mental load of wearing the green dot. The situation in Nashville with Anthony Hill Jr. is a classic case of the irresistible force meeting the immovable object. The Titans didn't just stumble into Hill. They aggressively traded up in the second round of the NFL draft to snag him at number 60 overall. The team needs aggressive downhill playmakers. Hill fits that prototype perfectly. But you have to look at the other side of the coin, the financial and functional reality of Cody Barton. While the hype is on the rookie, Barton is the one with the $8.23 million cap hit. From a business perspective, Barton is currently cut-proof because of the way his contract is structured. The Titans would actually lose cap space if they released him today due to a $9.6 million dead money hit. Barton is the veteran shield. He knows the checks and the pre-snap adjustments that the staff relies on to keep the defense from collapsing while the rookies learn the pro game. While Barton is safe from being cut, he is not trade-proof. If Hill continues to look like a stud through the summer, the staff has a massive incentive to move Barton after June 1st. Right now, Barton is the bridge, but Anthony Hill Jr. is the one driving the bulldozer. Whether Hill starts week 1 or Barton keeps the seat warm for a season, the defensive hammer has officially arrived. The Packers are facing a defensive identity crisis as they head into the 2026 season. It is a straight-up next-man-up scenario. With the departure of veterans like Rashawn Gary and Kingsley Enagbare, the depth chart looks different. But the biggest headline is obviously Micah Parsons. Following his ACL and meniscus surgery back in December, the team is playing it safe with a strict 9-month rehab protocol. Parsons himself has confirmed he's targeting a mid to late October return. That leaves the keys to the kingdom in the hands of Lucas Van Ness. Hercules has been waiting for this moment since he got to Green Bay, and the front office isn't hiding their expectations. He's the guy who has to win his one-on-ones, plain and simple. Then you have the rookie, Dani Dennis-Sutton. The fourth-round pick out of Penn State isn't just here for the scenery. At 6'5" and 256 pounds, he's got the frame to set the edge on early downs, which is exactly where the Packers are going to use him. He's not polished. He's a raw, high-motor athlete who's going to have a steep learning curve in Jonathan Gannon's new system. But he's going to get his reps, and he's going to get them early. It's not about finding a single replacement for a guy like Parsons. It's about Van Ness finally hitting that ceiling, or not, while the rookie eats up the rotational snaps to keep the unit fresh for now.
The edge room in Dallas is officially under new management, and Christian Parker's shift to a high-voltage 3-4 has created a collision course between two elite young talents. This is a war for the starter mantle between year-two standout Donovan Eziraku and the explosive first-round rookie Malachi Lawrence. The logic here is simple. Parker's scheme lives and dies on winning first down, which gives Donovan Eziraku the inside track to start. He logged over 550 snaps as a second-round rookie last season, the most of any returning edge player, and the staff clearly trusts his 8.1% missed tackle rate. He has the technical floor and lateral agility to handle the coverage drops required in a modern 3-4, making him the foundation of this youth movement. However, it's all about the lightning bolt, Malachi Lawrence. Dallas traded back to pick 23 to target his rare 4.52 speed and 40-inch vertical. He is the fastest edge player in the building, and the staff is already drilling him as the joker rusher designed to scream off the edge. The betting truth here is that while Eziraku has the experience and the new muscle, Lawrence has the momentum. If you were betting on the Week 1 starter market, the juice is heavily favoring a committee, but the logic says Lawrence is a high-value play to force a true 50-50 split by September.
The Los Angeles Chargers absolutely stole a monster in the first round of the 2026 NFL Draft. When the front office turned in the card for Miami edge rusher Akheem Mesidor at pick 22, Mesidor was a flat-out wrecking ball, helping carry Miami to a national championship game. He wrapped up that elite run by putting up an ACC-leading 12.5 sacks and 17.5 tackles for loss. He logged a stellar 92.5 PFF defensive grade, tying for fourth in the nation with 67 total QB pressures. This defense is shifting toward a highly aggressive front, and O'Leary loves dialing up creative pressure packages that maximize dynamic players. Mesidor has extensive history playing on the interior, so while casual fans think he might get caught in a bottleneck behind Khalil Mack and an ascending monster like Tuli Tuipulotu, the reality is he is going to be a massive sub-package weapon. On third and long, expect the Chargers to slide him down over interior guards, where his hand fighting allows him to win matches instantly. He is looking at a heavy rotational role. A clear long-term strategy here is the future, and with Khalil Mack at 35 years old, the front office locked down Mesidor as a high-impact cornerstone to permanently pair alongside Tuli Tuipulotu for the next 4 or 5 years. Emmanuel McNeil-Warren out of Toledo is a massive steal, not just because of his scheme fit, but because he was a turnover-generating machine during his collegiate career. Even with the transition in defensive coordinator to Mike Rutenberg, Cleveland is locked into keeping the exact same structural system, and their favorite weapon in the modern game is the 3-safety package. It demands aggressive chess pieces who can spin down into the box or match up in the slot on any given snap. He has the perfect size and the downhill high-end closing speed to play right at the line of scrimmage, erase tight ends over the middle, and completely disrupt outside run concepts. He spent his final year at Toledo dominating everywhere from deep free safety to a true box robber, giving Cleveland a dynamic hybrid defender who executes coverage disguise from day one. Ronnie Hickman and Grant Delpit are the established veterans, but it takes three to tango in this three-safety package. McNeil-Warren doesn't need to sit on the bench, and at the very least to start off, he steps directly into that crucial third safety role that Cleveland leans on heavily on early downs.
Yo, we've cut through the noise in the Pacific Northwest, because the word out of the VMAC is that Bud Clark is a tone setter. Clark finished his career as a three-time captain with the ridiculous 15 interceptions and 35 pass breakups. Scouts raved about his cornerback skills and a safety's body, noting that while his missed tackle rate was a concern in college, his instincts in deep zone coverage were compared to a young Kevin Byard. With Pro Bowler Julian Love signed through 2027 and Nick Emmanuel, the reigning Defensive Rookie of the Year finalist, under a fully guaranteed contract through 2028, the path to a 100% full-time role for Bud Clark is going to be a battle of attrition, meaning Clark is likely entering his rookie year as a high-upside third wheel in those heavy NFL nickel and dime packages McDonald loves to run.
The Raiders built a new foundation in free agency, overhauling the defense by snagging plenty of veteran heavy hitters. But the aggressive moves they made to reunite Arizona's Treydan Stukes and Dalton Johnson, this wasn't just a best player available situation. It was a calculated strike to bring that Tucson energy to the Strip. Treydan Stukes was the first piece of that puzzle at pick 38, and he might be the biggest steal of the entire second round. We're talking about a guy who clocked a blistering 4.33-second 40-yard dash and has the versatility to play anywhere in the backfield. The production matches the traits. Stukes put up an elite 90.4 PFF coverage grade in 2025, allowing a stingy 0.4 yards per coverage snap. But the real moment came when the Raiders decided they weren't leaving without Dalton Johnson. To move up to pick 150, Vegas actually traded away former top 10 pick Tyree Wilson and pick 219 to the New Orleans Saints. That tells you everything about how much they valued Johnson's hammer mentality. He led the Wildcats in tackles for 2 straight seasons, racking up a career-high 97 stops as a redshirt senior. Johnson finished 2025 with an 88.6 PFF coverage grade and allowed a ridiculous 37.8 passer rating when targeted. But as long as Jeremy Chin is still there, he basically looks like a dynasty project this defense needs to develop for a year. They aren't just bringing in 2 rookies, they're bringing in a pre-built communication system that's been honed over 40 games together.